This is the beginning. In the billions of years of the existence of the universe, many things have changed. Gaseous bodies became stars, and harder masses that are now planets, asteroids, and meteoroids. Basic life forms developed on Earth, starting with self-reproducing RNA, developing into prokaryotes around 3 billion years ago. Over time, bacteria and other eukaryotes started to appear. And then organisms adapted photosynthesis as a means of energy, and plants began to develop. Larger organisms eventually started to take shape, many of which no longer exist. Now, about 4.5 billion years after the inception of our world, the human race, a species that only started to take form a mere 200,000 years ago, and is only in its current phase for the past 10,000 years or so, has discovered the one constant behind all of this change. The one particle that creates all others. The fundamental building block of matter. The TSP particle. Our journey begins with Democritus devising his atomic theory, setting the stage for a singular basic building block of the world around us. His indivisible atom, which we now know to be a fallacy, was groundbreaking in physics and has led to all sorts of new fields, including quantum and particle physics. More recently, scientists have found that atoms are actually comprised of smaller particles, namely the proton, neutron, and electron. Even further, protons and neutrons arise out of structures of particles called quarks and gluons. Today we take it one step further, to the last frontier of particle physics. On September 19, 2009, in a small laboratory at NJIT University, a small group of graduate students, led by Omar Sharif Al-Halabi and Jane Parker, made a shocking discovery.
Well, we were trying to enlarge food particles. We never thought it would come to this. Our vision was to have a grain of rice feed an entire family.
The device, aimed to help solve world hunger, was only in its prototype stage, but that was enough to make the most important scientific discovery of the young 21st century. So, how did you discover this particle? What happened?
Well, we were very lucky, really. During a trial run of the primary lasers, there was a flash and several atomic nuclei about the size of gobstoppers appeared right in front of us.
I want to eat one. Look quite delicious.
At the time, we didn't know what they were.
Actually, our lab technician was on standby and he put the specimen out with a fire extinguisher.
Out of fear that a fire had started, a lab technician froze the specimen with a nearby extinguisher.
Without that, the particles probably wouldn't have lasted in that state long enough for us to examine them. We were fortunate, though, to take them to our electron microscope and realize what we had discovered.
I never even dreamed about naming a particle before. I thought it would be harder.
We decided to call it the TSP particle, or teaspoon particle. It's catchy, I think. It stands for simply the smallest particle, TSP.
The existence of the particle was verified by members of the National Science Research Foundation in late October, and will officially be recognized in the Standard Model of Particle Physics in early 2010.
Now what? I'm not sure. I hope we can get back to the world hunger issue.
Well, what about the TSP particle?
I'm not concerned about it. There are plenty of great scientists out there. It's in good hands.
As of now, many details surrounding the TSP particle, such as its figure and function, remain a mystery. All we know for sure is that these two rising scientists have etched their names in the history books alongside the likes of Schrödinger, Einstein, and Rosen for the largest, smallest discovery the world has ever seen.